Hey there. Let's spend the next few minutes together exploring a really simple, but honestly, a super powerful way to understand how any system works from the inside out. So, what if you could draw a simple map? A map for, well, every single story that could ever happen inside an app or a system. I'm not talking about complicated code or anything like that. I mean, literally just a simple story. That's the whole idea we're going to unpack together today. On any project, it's kind of like you have people who speak completely different languages. A developer is thinking in code. A manager, they're all about timelines and budgets. And a user, well, they just want the thing to work, right? Use case diagrams, they act like a shared map, a common language that gets everyone on the same page looking at the exact same story. So let's figure out how to tell it. All right, so every great story starts with its characters, right? And in the world of systems, it's really no different. The first thing we have to do is figure out who is interacting with our system. Okay, so the first character we need to meet is called an actor. Now, this isn't a specific person, like Bob from accounting. It's a role. Think of it more like a type of user, like customer. Or it could even be another system, something like a credit card service. Basically, an actor is anyone or anything that's on the outside of the system and talks to it. And this, I think, is just brilliant. The universal symbol for an actor, it's just a stick figure. That's it. It's so clean, so simple, and you instantly get what it means. This is the character in our story. You know, let's just take a breath here for a second. This whole process, it's really all about asking questions and just finding clarity together. There's no such thing as a dumb question when the goal is to build something everyone understands. Okay, so we have our characters, our actors. The next obvious question is, what do they want? What are they trying to do? What's their goal? And that brings us to the use case. So a use case is basically a single story about how an actor gets something done. You can think of the diagram as showing just the title of the story. Later on, a team might write out all the details. That's like the full script. But for right now, we're just focused on the big picture, the story titles that tell us what the system is supposed to do. And again, what's so great about this is how simple it is. Just like this stick figure, a use case, the character's goal, is just a simple oval. That's all. It just represents the task they're trying to accomplish. Okay, let's make this feel a bit more real. Think about a vending machine. A customer's goal, their use case, might be to buy a beverage. But a repair technician, their goal might be to make repairs. Or how about a music app? You as a user might want to download a music file, or maybe organize the library. See? Each one of those is its own little story, a distinct use case. All right, we've got our characters and we know what their goals are. So the last piece of the puzzle is, where does all this happen? We need to set the stage. And this is what we call the system boundary. It's really just a box that you draw around all the goals, all the use cases. What it does is it shows us really clearly what's inside our system, all the stuff it can do, and what's outside our system, which is our actors, the ones interacting with it. And there it is, our final, simple shape, a rectangle. The actors, they live outside this box. The use cases, they live inside it. This boundary is what defines the entire scope of our story. Okay, so we've met all the individual pieces, right? We have the character, the goal, and the stage. Now let's put it all together and see how it builds a complete picture that tells a really clear story. So, first up, we start with our character, the actor. For this story, let's say it's the customer. They're out there, outside the system, ready to do something. Next, we give them a goal. That's our use case. The customer wants to buy a beverage. And we just draw a simple line to show that this actor is the one who kicks off this specific action. And then finally, we set the stage. We draw our system boundary, that big rectangle, around the use case, and we label it vending machine. And that's it. Just like that, we have a complete use case diagram. It tells a simple, visual story. A customer interacts with the vending machine to buy a beverage. Anyone, literally anyone, can understand this map. So, okay, we can draw these simple little maps, but why does this matter? Why is telling this story this way so important in the real world? Well, here's the crucial part. These simple diagrams, they create a shared vision. They get everybody, and I mean everybody, whether you're technical or not, on the exact same page. They clearly define what the project is supposed to do, which helps make sure the team is actually building the right thing. In a way, it's kind of like a contract, right? It's a promise of what the system will do, and it's a promise that everyone involved can understand. So now that you know these basic building blocks, you kind of have this new way of seeing the technology you use every single day. The next time you're using your favorite app, maybe try this out. Just for a second, see if you can spot the actors. That's probably you as a user or maybe a subscriber. Then try to identify their goals, the use cases, things like post a photo or send a message. You'll start to see these simple, elegant stories hidden inside every single system you interact with. And that's really the heart of it all. These diagrams, they aren't about capturing every single tiny detail. They're about creating a simple model that shines a light on what's most important, the stories of how a system actually helps the people who use it. Thanks for taking the time to explore this with me.